I could just ask you what you believe are the three biggest risks out there at the moment.
Well, I think Michael Portillo was very accurate in what he was saying this morning. So I certainly think cyber risk is something that people are not addressing enough and need to consider more. I would say also that there is a real issue with the political situation in some areas. So the Falklands aren't a big economy, but they could have an impact. And if you think about Scotland in the same way, there are some political risks that have knock-on economic and therefore business risks associated with them on the horizon. And it's also quite likely that they'll go their separate way. Third risk that we're seeing a lot of at the moment, actually the trend that I would say we're seeing is that people are doing more risk management on more risks that they didn't used to. So 10 years ago everybody did risk management on property risks and that was it, whereas now they're doing professional indemnity and some new racy subjects like that.
Alright, thank you. If I can just ask you then, what do you think the biggest development's been in the last 12 months since we were last here at Airmic?
The thing that we've noticed most is that people are actually starting to talk about their need to improve data and benchmarking, whether that's within an insurer, cross-class, or within a particular trade or a scheme, whatever, or even in a corporate where they're talking about benchmarking between sites or locations.
And do you think that, so I'm just trying to think of the right way to put this, do you think that that's as a result of them achieving greater board level access, or as to why that might be a new development rather than a previous one?
I think risk management has suddenly risen up the agenda and become more visible to the board, and therefore there is more opportunity for risk managers to actually get their sort of pet projects being dealt with.
Let's concentrate more on the data.
Well, anybody who's got a scientific or an engineering background would rather use data than just conjecture, so therefore yes.
Alright, thank you. And then what do you think is perhaps the biggest risk that no one's really talking about but needs to be addressed right now?
Well, I would say that we've done some research recently in partnership with independent researchers, and they found that 98% of risk managers believe that insurers are not pricing risks correctly. Of those, 78% think that they are underpricing. So although it's a very internal risk for insurers, I think that's the biggest risk that organisations are facing.
All right, thank you. Then finally, may I just ask what your biggest personal risk is that you've ever taken?
Having been a fat bugger once upon a time, I think probably it was deciding to get fit and run a half marathon.
Oh, well, congratulations. I don't think I could have done that.